is a spiritual house with spiritual foundations. Come on, somebody. This is a spiritual house with a spiritual foundations, with a spiritual also atmosphere. When you walk into this room and you are in the assembly of this congregation, this atmosphere is charged. Have you felt it before? You ever felt like your battery was empty? And you came in here and all of a sudden it was charged. You come into this atmosphere. And so when we talk about this atmosphere, and we talk about the spiritual house and the spiritual dimension, we need to realize a few things. That number one, that there is a battle that's going on. It's like what I like to call the battle for everything. You realize there's a battle for everything? C.S. Lewis, again, I told you before, if a preacher wants to sound deep, he quotes C.S. Lewis. So I'm trying to sound deep here. But C.S. Lewis once said this in the book Christian Reflections. He said, there's no neutral ground in the universe. Every square inch, every split second is claimed by God and counterclaimed by Satan. Okay, that's called spiritual warfare. I need you to understand, every square inch, every split second, if you are understanding spiritual things, you realize there's this thing called spiritual warfare. And when you understand that, you have to understand that in the context of this house and what this house is called to do. This is a spiritual house with spiritual foundations and a spiritual atmosphere, and sometimes there is spiritual warfare. Why? Because your pastor, and I'll talk about him more in a second, as if he is here. Because I'm not talking behind his back. And if you have that ministry, you better be careful. Come on, somebody. I'll leave it right there. The prophet leaves it right there. Don't mess with God's anointed. Oh, I'll leave it right there, okay? But let me tell you something. Your pastor and this house, you got to understand this. This might seem real simple, but it's so powerful. It's a spiritual principle. Your pastor and this house occupy spiritual territory.